Tonight on WMC Action News 5 at 5, security at Health Sciences Park after tense moments arose yesterday as the pedestal at the Nathan Bedford Forest site was being removed. What city officials are doing tonight to prevent another incident like this from happening. Plus, uncertainty following the transgender bathroom law, new punishments business owners will face when the controversial transgender bathroom law goes into effect. And after several weeks of the Hernando de Soto Bridge being shut down, U.S. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg will be in Memphis to tour the bridge. Tonight, we'll show you what Pete Buttigieg is expected to do here in Memphis and how his trip to Memphis will show a prime example of why President Biden's infrastructure bill should pass in Congress.
Live from the Mid-South's first television station, WMC Action News 5 at 5 starts now.
We begin tonight with weather. Scattered thunderstorms are moving across the Mid-South as we see the start of summer storms. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for WMC Action News 5 at 5. I'm Noah Sershin. Joe and Kanji have the evening and afternoon off. First Light meteorologist Spencer Denton has the timing on these storms and when we can expect these storms to push out. Hey, Spencer.
Hey, it's been spotty across much of the Mid-South for today. Some areas just seeing sun and clouds, and you can see it's very few and far between on the radar right now. We zoom into Shelby County, nothing going on here, so we're all quiet here. But you go off to the north and you can see some high downpours near Bells, Tennessee, and then a cluster of storms in Obion County right now, moving off to the north and to the east, and a couple of little cells across northeast Arkansas near Wilson and also near Taranza. But again, overall, we're not seeing anything widespread out there this afternoon and evening. Some sun, some clouds here in Memphis and across Shelby County. A cold front is moving through. That's going to continue to push off to the south and east. We'll keep a small chance for a shower or thunderstorm in the forecast. Coming up, I'll show you something interesting we saw in northeast Arkansas earlier today in my first alert forecast.
Spencer, thanks. Well, happening now after a confrontation yesterday between a volunteer and an elected official at the Nathan Bedford Forest statue in Health Sciences Park, the city of Memphis says security will now be on site during the removal of the pedestal and remains of Nathan Bedford Forest and his wife. WMC Action News 5's Chris Luther is live now to explain more precautions the city is taking. Chris.
The scene here at Health Sciences Park looks a lot different today than it did yesterday. These fences here behind me, they were just put up today, and they're blocking anyone from getting anywhere near the work site. And in fact, if you look off to my right, workers are here putting up a cover so that you can't even see through this fence into the work that is being done. And this fence surrounds the entire work area. Now, these security changes and more have been put in place because of the confrontation that happened yesterday. Work continued Wednesday at Health Sciences Park toward relocating the remains of Nathan Bedford Forrest and his wife. Added fencing kept people yards away from the site, and security guards were on hand. Tuesday afternoon, a man identifying himself as George K. Rack Johnson yelled profanity at Shelby County Commissioner Tammy Sawyer and sang Dixie behind her as she did an interview on her role she played in 2017, having the Nathan Bedford Forrest statue removed.
Yesterday was pretty jarring, Chris.
Wednesday, Sawyer was back at work at Shelby County Commission. She filed this police report with Memphis Police regarding the incident. A police spokesman told me officers are investigating Johnson for a possible intimidation charge.
This is not the first time. This is the closest that he's ever gotten to me physically.
Sawyer says Johnson is a member of the group Confederate 901, and she has received countless threats from members of that group online. She says she's asked Shelby County Sheriff's deputies for protection and hired private security companies for safety in recent years.
George Johnson has shown up in parks with guns and not been removed from the parks. He's made videos about me, threatening me, calling me names.
Tuesday, Sawyer came to the park to talk about the work she did in 2017 with Take 'em Down 901, but she never got that opportunity. Wednesday, she did.
For me, it is a grand moment for my ancestors as the descendant of enslaved Black people who were enslaved in this state, in this county.
Memphis Green Space and the Sons of Confederate Veterans both say that Johnson will not be allowed to come back and volunteer here while this work is going on. Now, both sides say they want this process to go peacefully. Reporting live at Health Sciences Park, Chris Luther, WMC Action News 5.
Chris thinks, well, could business owners who refuse to comply with Tennessee's controversial transgender bathroom law be jailed or fined? Well, one lawmaker says that jail time is on the table for people who do not follow the law that takes into effect on July 1st. WMC Action News 5's Brendan Richard has more.
It's made Tennessee a poster child for discrimination. We've become known as the state of hate, and with good reason.
Marissa Richmond, a Tennessee transgender activist, is talking about the slew of anti-transgender bills that passed through the legislature this year. One requires businesses to post signs with this message outside public restrooms if that business allows transgender people to use the bathroom associated with their gender identity.
It makes transgender people feel angry, fearful, and humiliated.
The bill the governor signed into law last month makes no mention of penalties nor how the law will be enforced. The man who sponsored the bill, State Representative Tim Rudd, told the Chattanooga Times Free Press that business owners who refuse to comply could face criminal penalties, like 6 months in jail or fines up to $500. Rudd says that's because the law was placed in a section of the state code that deals with building safety. Shelby County District Attorney Amy Wyrick, who's also president of the Tennessee District Attorneys General Conference, told us in a statement most of those matters are handled by fire marshals and building inspectors. The processes in many areas involve reviews and re-inspections and appeals to various boards or administrative agencies. Wyrick says they'll continue reviewing the issue. A spokesman for the state fire marshal's office told us they too are still reviewing the legislation to determine the appropriate implementation. The law takes effect July 1st.
That was WMC Action News 5's Brandon Richard reporting. Nashville's District Attorney Glenn Funk says that his office will not enforce this law. He says his office will not promote hate. Representative Rudd did not return our message for a comment. Also news coming from the Tennessee Capitol, Governor Bill Lee held a public signing of the constitutional carry law. This law goes into effect on July 1st. Now, this law will get rid of the 80-hour in-person course or 90-minute online course requirement for an open carry permit. The permitless carry law has received mixed reviews. Groups like Moms Demand Action Tennessee have spoken out against the bill, as well as many law enforcement leaders, including Shelby County Sheriff Floyd Bonner. A trial date has now been set for the man who was accused of killing NBA basketball star Lorenzen Riot. Billy Ray Turner appeared in court this morning, which was the first time in more than a year because of the pandemic. Judge Lee Coffey set his trial for January 31st of 2022. Turner is accused of killing Lorenzen Riot 11 years ago. He is charged with first-degree murder. Turner told the judge that he is ready for his trial to get underway.
I just want to thank you for go ahead and get it over with, because I've been incarcerated almost 4 years now. So I want to go ahead and get back, prove my innocence, and get back to my family.
In August of 2019, Turner was sentenced to 16 years in prison on separate gun charges. The trial for the murder of Riot was set for September of 2020. It was moved to October, then delayed because of the pandemic. Shara Wright, the ex-wife of Lorenzen Riot, pleaded guilty to facilitating the murder in 2019. She is currently serving a 30-year sentence but is eligible for parole in 2026. The man charged in connection with the murder and disappearance of his wife also has a trial date set. Carl Hayes is charged in the murder of his 41-year-old wife, Tequila Hayes. Now, we told you last night that the Shelby County Sheriff's Office was searching a very remote part of Tipton County, but were unable to find any signs of her body. Carl Hayes' trial is now set for March 14th of 2022. He is charged with second-degree murder and tampering with evidence. The Memphis Police Department needs your help catching suspects armed with handguns and rifles that stole a car in Memphis. In the first incident back on March 17th, officers say 3 or 4 suspects demanded a victim's car from a parking lot on Pueblo Road. There were similar armed carjackings on March 23rd in a parking lot on Poplar Avenue. Investigators say the suspects are the same in both incidents and should be considered armed and dangerous. Investigators also say that they are frequent in the Fraser area. Now, anyone with information on the suspects is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 901-528-CASH. 24 hours after an incident on the I-55 bridge resulted in traffic shutdowns on the Tennessee and Arkansas side for a little over an hour. The U.S. Secretary of Transportation will land in Memphis tomorrow to look at the impact and urgency of the I-40 bridge. WMC Action News 5's Kelly Roberts is live now from downtown Memphis with this story. Kelly.
Hey, good evening. Well, while he's here, Secretary Pete Buttigieg will attend some sessions with FedEx to learn how this closure is affecting the nation's distribution hub. That's information he could take back to Washington in his attempts to hopefully land some sort of infrastructure deal to improve infrastructure both here and beyond.
He's coming to Memphis because he's concerned about Memphis, but also he's concerned about the entire country.
3 weeks after a substantial crack shut down the I-40 bridge across the Mississippi River, the head of the United States Department of Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg will visit the site on Thursday. The impact the closure has on distribution to local traffic is seen almost daily. Wednesday, a police disturbance on the I-55 bridge shut down traffic on the detoured route across the river.
Both Republicans and Democrats in Congress and the president, whatever their differences about different aspects of infrastructure, they all want roads and bridges to be in good repair.
Ahead of Buttigieg's Memphis visit, President Joe Biden continued talks with congressional Republicans Wednesday to come up with an infrastructure deal. A main point of contention between parties, how it will be paid for. WMC political analyst Michael Nelson says Democrats will likely push for a combination of increased corporate taxes and taxes paid by the wealthy. Nelson says what Buttigieg learns and sees in Memphis will be a matter of interest for every member of Congress.
So much of the truck travel in this country comes through Memphis, Tennessee, on its way to Texas, or the other way on its way to Nashville and points east.
And one person was detained after that disturbance on the I-55 bridge. Now, in its daily reporting on the progress taking place on the I-40 bridge, TDOT says that the contractor's schedule is coming together, but because of some preliminary work, it still may be several weeks before we know a projected open date for the I-40 bridge. Reporting live downtown, Kelly Roberts, WMC Action News 5.
Kelly, thanks. Now to the day's latest coronavirus coverage. The Shelby County Health Department says within the last week, an average of 1,300 vaccines were administered per day. A total of 662,594 vaccines have been administered, with little more than 359,000 people fully vaccinated. The county's goal is 700,000. The Shelby County Health Department reported 22 new cases and 2 new deaths today. Daily case increases have decreased in recent weeks, with the health department reporting more days with less than 100 new cases. There are currently 742 active cases in the county.
Most areas in the Mid-South have received at least some rain over the past 24 hours. The question is, how much more will fall? Your first alert to a few more isolated downpours coming up.
More than 4 months after the Capitol Hill riots, and federal prosecutors are still indicting more people in their involvement with the insurrection on the Capitol. Coming up, the new 4 people charged with their involvement in the Capitol Hill riots and the connection they have to a far right-winged extremist group. Plus, as people are glad that the MPP has been canceled, a growing number of people say that not enough is being done to help asylum seekers, while advocates are saying more should be done. And 2 teens get into a shootout with sheriff's deputies. What's next for both teams, as they both have pending criminal charges, and the message from the Volusia County Sheriff. Federal prosecutors indicted 4 more alleged Oath Keepers in connection with the Capitol riot. This comes as 12 people charged in the Department of Justice's largest conspiracy case related to the insurrection on January 6th had court hearings yesterday. All 12 allegedly took part in the riot with the far right-winged extremist group, the Oath Keepers. So far, federal prosecutors have charged 16 alleged Oath Keepers, accusing them of planning the siege ahead of time. Prosecutors have charged 3 alleged Oath Keepers from Florida, 51-year-old Joseph Hackett, 44-year-old Jason Dolan, and 21-year-old William Isaacs with conspiracy and engaging in the January 6th riot. A 4th alleged Oath Keeper's name was kept secret in most of the recent court filings. Prosecutors described the anti-government group as large but loosely organized collection of individuals. It's led by Stuart Rhodes, who has not been charged but has been accused of giving directions before and during the riot. Documents show prosecutors believe at various various moments during the Capitol siege, Hackett, Isaacs, and Dolan joined with others wearing Oath Keepers patches and formed a line that snaked through the crowd, with each member keeping at least one hand on the shoulder of the one in front of them. The filing describes their actions inside the Capitol, accusing Isaacs of yelling, quote, "The fight's not over," and waving rioters down the hallways towards the Senate. Prosecutors say someone they refer to as Person 3 walked a long object covered by a sheet that was possibly a gun into a nearby hotel where Oath Keepers gathered. In national news, while migrant advocates and attorneys are applauding the cancellation of the Migrant Protection Protocol program, they say not enough is being done to help asylum seekers. Salvador Rivera has more in this border report.
Migrant advocates and attorneys say removing the MPP or Remain in Mexico program is a good first step, but it does not go far enough to help asylum seekers who find themselves on the south side of the border.
In reality, on the ground, it doesn't mean a lot. Not a lot has changed, unfortunately.
Holly Webb is the lead attorney with the Border Rights Project. She discussed the Migrant Protection Protocol program, which forced asylum seekers to remain in Mexico while waiting for their cases to be heard.
MPP was devastating for thousands and thousands of people. Just the fact alone that there are people who missed their court dates because they were kidnapped and then their case was closed. But people have been forced to essentially remain in the most dangerous parts of Mexico to wait out their cases.
Webb is glad the MPP is officially history, but according to her, what needs to happen now is the cancellation of Title 42, which expels migrants the minute they are caught illegally crossing the border, something that was implemented under the Trump administration as a way to prevent the spread of COVID-19. This has kept people from asking for asylum.
Normally, people can either come to a port of entry and they can present themselves to CBP and in normal times, not currently. And they can say, I'm afraid to return to my home country. I want to seek asylum. And they have a legal right to do so under U.S. law, under international law.
Webb says until this changes, it will be hard for migrants to seek asylum, especially the ones at the campsite just south of the border.
At the moment, they have no ability to seek asylum. It's essentially closed off for them. And they're living in a very dangerous area. There's lots of organized crime there.
Salvador Rivera, Border Report.
We really want to take a look at this video behind my shoulder. This is a video coming out of Volusia County, Florida, where sheriff's deputies are calling this like Bonnie and Clyde. A 12 and 14-year-old were in a shootout with Volusia County deputies and was all caught on body cameras. Michelle Ewing has the latest from Volusia County, Florida.
How is a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old so full of hate?
Shooting out the rear window toward my direction. Stand by.
The 12-year-old boy with the 14-year-old girl allegedly broke into a home, found weapons including an AK-47 and a shotgun, and used them against sheriff's deputies. The 14-year-old was wounded by return fire, but the 12-year-old not hurt, and investigators spoke with him.
He said he fired the shotgun a couple of times and also fired the handgun at deputies. He told detectives he knew they were cops when he shot at them because he wanted to harm them.
Hey guys, you're pulled behind hard cover. Let's not shoot these kids.
Deputies had to dodge bullets, hide behind trees or patrol cars as the two children fired at them. Sheriff Chitwood says the 14-year-old girl told the 12-year-old she was going to roll this down like GTA, the video game Grand Theft Auto. Yet deputies were loath to return fire, knowing who they were up against. A whispered prayer from one.
Don't let me do this. Don't do this. Shots fired again. Female now has a pistol. Juvenile male has a long gun, so does the female. Stand by.
She's pointing the gun. Pointing the gun behind the trash can. Behind the trash can.
Investigators say as the 14-year-old repeatedly pointed her shotgun at deputies, they fired back, then raced to secure the 12-year-old, give medical help to the 14-year-old. The 12-year-old does not have a previous criminal history, but the girl was arrested in 2018 for stealing a dog, seen on surveillance video, and then again this past April for setting a series of fires in Palm Coast that briefly threatened homes and burned a fence.
But nobody comes to work to shoot and kill anybody. We certainly don't come to work to get into gunfights with 12 and 14-year-olds.
Now, the 12-year-old boy is scheduled to make a court appearance tomorrow. The state's attorney's office can decide whether to charge the 14-year-old girl as an adult, but to the charge of the 12-year-old as an adult, the state's attorney's office must get an indictment from a grand jury. Well, looking ahead, now that we're in the month of June, the 4th of July is quickly approaching. Here are a list of some events happening around the city for the 4th of July. Graceland's All-American July 4th Weekend features fun for all ages, featuring Elvis rock and roll, barbecue, movies, a Bill Cherry concert, Sunday gospel brunch, hidden Graceland tours, and of course, fireworks. Also, the town of Collierville says that its 2021 Independence Day celebration is set for Saturday, July 3rd at 2021 at H.W. Cox Park. Food vendors will be on site starting at 6:30. Entertainment is set for 7 p.m. and fireworks are set to go off at 9:30 p.m. The entertainment will include special performances from the Tennessee Mass Choir. The band Party Planet will also be on hand. Shuttle services will not be provided this year, and the rain date is set for Monday, July 5th.
Well, rain was widespread last night. Today it's been more isolated, but over the last 24 hours, we've seen some areas picking up 1 to 2 inches in parts of northeast Mississippi and some spots across eastern Arkansas with the same near Marianna and Wynne, Arkansas, picking up a good bit in portions of St. Francis County as well. Around an inch or so in parts of Shelby County. Now, as we take a look at the radar right now, this is Doppler radar, and you don't see a whole lot, a couple little areas of isolated heavy downpours, but here in Shelby County, we're looking pretty good right now. And mostly dry with a mix of sun and clouds. You can see some heavy rain up toward Union City in northwest Tennessee, and then some isolated pockets of heavy rain, one just east of Taranza, there along just to the west of I-55, but that is about it. So we zoom into Luxora. This is Luxora, Arkansas. Check this out from earlier today. If you notice up at the top there, yeah, that was a cold air funnel that reaches the ground this afternoon. That was in eastern Arkansas. Look at it. You can see it right there spinning. This doesn't happen very often that you see these types of events, but this was actually a land spout today from Wells Skaggs in eastern Arkansas there in Mississippi County. So these pop up. In fact, I like to call this the capital of the cold air funnels, capital in the world really, because I don't see as many as I do in northeast Arkansas almost every year. So I have more on this on my Facebook page, on Twitter as well. You can find the latest info on that and some more details as well. But overall, there was no damage from that. It was very weak. It didn't last long. And we're not expecting much in the way of severe weather, but we could see a pop-up shower or thunderstorm through the evening hours. And again, these will continue mainly to the east of Memphis tonight as we go through the early morning hours as that front pushes on through. So overall, rain chances look low. Temperatures as we go into tomorrow will bounce back into the upper 70s and low 80s. 65 degrees though tonight, mostly cloudy, maybe an isolated shower or thunderstorm early. 82 tomorrow. Showers could be north of I-40 as we go into the afternoon, but only a 20% chance of rain. Your first alert 7-day forecast shows temperatures in the mid-80s. Rain chances go down Friday, Saturday, but they go back up Sunday and Monday, and it's pretty muggy as we head into next week.
Thanks, Spencer. Well, after the break, we have a preview of what's to come ahead on WMC Action News 5 at 6. But still to come on WMC Action News 5 at 5, Elvis stolen. Next, look at some of the recent crimes happening at Elvis Presley's birthplace in Tupelo, Mississippi. And school is out for most places in the Mid-South. What free summer camps are available in Memphis when WMC Action News 5 at 5 returns? Tonight on WMC Action News 5 at 6, extra security at Health Sciences Park after an incident involving a Shelby County commissioner and volunteer at the Nathan Bedford Forrest statue. What city officials are doing tonight to stop another altercation like this from happening. Plus, a man who was found shot to death in Raleigh may be the victim of a couple who investigators say are suspected of killing 5 other people in 3 other states. We'll break down each crime tonight on the news at 6. And paperwork is now filed to challenge the controversial Supreme Court ruling that overturned Initiative 65, as hundreds showed up to protest the Supreme Court decision. Tonight at 6, we'll take you down I-55 to Jackson, Mississippi, where the fight for legalized marijuana continues.
You're watching WMC Action News 5 at 5.
The Elvis Presley's birthplace is offering a $1,000 reward for any information about vandalism. The brick sign located off of Main Street leading up to the museum's property. The sign normally reads Elvis Presley's Birthplace, Museum and Chapel. During the past few days, someone stole the Elvis section. The birthplace is not sure exactly what day the theft occurred. Prior to the latest theft, someone stole the entire sign about 3 months ago, and the birthplace had to replace it. School is out, and maybe you want to get a break from the kids, let them make new friends, or continue to sharpen up their skills that they learned from the previous school year. Well, the city of Memphis has opened up some free summer camps to help you do so. Camps will begin on June 21st and run through August 6th. Camps are from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at all Memphis community centers, except for the Brickford and Egg Rice Community Center. Parents and/or guardians must sign kids in and out of camp daily, and all campers must wear tennis shoes. Parents and/or guardians must give their driver's license or state ID, a birth certificate of the camper, proof of guardianship, and proof of residency. Call 901-576-4203 for more information, or call your local community center. Here are the 5 out of 22 community centers where a lot of slots are still available. The Davis Center on Spotswood Avenue, the Douglas Community Center on Ash Street, Hollywood Community Center on North Hollywood Street, Katie Sexton Community Center on Brown Avenue, and the Gaston Community Center on South 3rd Street. To register your child for one of the camps, click on the story on our website, WMCActionNews5.com. Firstly, meteorologist Spencer Denton is back now to give us a final look at the forecast. Hey, Spencer.
Yeah, we have isolated downpours still popping up in Mississippi County right now in eastern Arkansas, and we'll still see a couple of those popping up through the night and into tomorrow. Check out the First Alert 7-day forecast. It shows those temperatures in the 60s tonight and still a 20% chance even tomorrow, but rain chances are very small for Friday and Saturday. Then they go back up a little bit as we head into Sunday and Monday, and we get kind of in that summertime, kind of muggy, steamy pattern heading into next week with highs in the mid to upper 80s.
Thanks, Spencer, and thank you all for joining us for WMC Action News 5 at 5. The NBC Nightly News is next. We'll see you back here in 30 minutes for WMC Action News 5 at 6. We'll see you then.
Stream WMC Action News 5 for free on WMCActionNews5.com, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV.